They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. I think it's best served piping hot, right next to the mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce, in front of everyone you love. My name is Chris, and this is the story of how I turned a family holiday into a crime scene of emotions. To understand why I did what I did, you have to understand my wife, Elena, and her family. They were tight-knit, obsessively so, especially Elena and her stepbrother, Dan. Dan had been part of the family since they were teenagers. We all got along. In fact, Dan and I watched football together, drank beers together. I trusted him. I trusted her. We had been married for 5 years, and I thought we were happy. But around May, something shifted. It wasn't obvious at first, just small cracks in the foundation. It started with the phone. Elena used to leave her phone on the kitchen counter, unlocked, screen up. Suddenly, it was always in her pocket, or face down, or charging in the other room. She changed her passcode. When I asked why, she said, "Work security policy." I believed her. Then came the distance. She stopped initiating intimacy. She was tired, stressed, or had a headache. But oddly enough, she had plenty of energy for her new hobby, hiking. She started going on long hikes every weekend, sometimes for 6 or 7 hours. She said she needed to clear her head. One Saturday in late June, Dan came over for a BBQ. I noticed something strange. Elena was wearing a new perfume. When Dan walked in, he didn't hug her like a brother. His hand lingered on her lower back a second too long. Her eyes lit up in a way they hadn't looked at me in years. That was the moment the seed was planted. But I told myself I was crazy. It's her stepbrother, I thought. That's disgusting. She wouldn't. In July, Elena announced she was going on a girls' trip to a cabin near the lake with her best friend Sarah. "Just a weekend to unwind," she said. She kissed me goodbye, loaded up the car, and drove off. Something in my gut screamed at me, so I did something I'm not proud of. I logged into our shared cell phone provider account. I looked at the call logs. There were dozens of calls to a number I didn't recognize. But when I cross-referenced the timestamps with texts, I realized it was Dan. She had saved his number under Pizza Hut in her contacts, but the bills don't lie. Then I called Sarah, the friend she was supposed to be with. "Hey, Sarah, is Elena there? I think she forgot her charger." There was a long pause. Chris? I haven't seen Elena in weeks. I'm in Florida visiting my mom." Click. My world stopped. She wasn't with Sarah. I didn't call her. I didn't scream. I hired a professional. I found a private investigator online. I gave him the address of the cabin she mentioned. I found the reservation in her email trash folder. 2 days later, he sent me the Dropbox link. I sat in my office, hands trembling, and clicked it. The photos were high definition, crystal clear. There was Elena. There was Dan. They were on the porch of the cabin. They weren't hiking. They were drinking wine, kissing, touching. There were photos of them in the hot tub. It was undeniable. Not only was she was cheating with a member of the family. The betrayal was so deep, it made me physically ill. I threw up in the trash can right there. I wanted to burn the house down. I wanted to drive up there and confront them, but then a cold calm washed over me. If I confronted them now, they would spin it. They would lie to the parents. They would make me the bad guy. No. I needed witnesses. I needed total destruction. I looked at the calendar. It was August. Thanksgiving was 3 months away. We were scheduled to host this year. I decided to wait. Do you know how hard it is to sleep next to someone you know is betraying you? To kiss them goodbye in the morning knowing where those lips have been? For 3 months, I played the perfect husband. I bought her flowers. I asked about her day. I even high-fived Dan when the Eagles won. I gathered more evidence. I saved every text. I printed every photo. The day finally arrived. The house smelled of roasted turkey and sage stuffing. The table was set with our best china. Her parents arrived. Dan's father arrived. And of course, Dan arrived, bringing a pecan pie and a smug smile. "Hey, Chris, turkey smells great," he said, clapping me on the shoulder, the same shoulder of the man's wife he was sleeping with. It's going to be a meal to remember, Dan, I replied. We sat down. I poured the wine. Everyone was laughing, passing the rolls, talking about politics and the weather. Elena looked beautiful. She looked happy. She thought she had gotten away with it. I tapped my glass with a spoon. Ding, ding, ding. The room went silent. I'd like to make a toast. I stood up. Elena smiled at me, expecting a speech about our love. I'm thankful for many things this year. I started looking around the table. I'm thankful for this house, for this food, but mostly I'm thankful for clarity. I reached under my chair and pulled out a large manila envelope. And I'm thankful that I finally got the photos developed from the girls' trip you took in July. Elena, I saw the color drain from her face instantly. Her fork clattered onto her plate. But wait, I continued, my voice steady. Sarah wasn't there, was she? But someone else was. I opened the envelope and started passing out the packets I had prepared. One for you, Mom, one for you, Dad, and Dan, here's some copies for you in case you want to frame them. I threw the photos on the table. They were the ones from the hot tub. Explicit, undeniable. For 3 seconds, there was absolute silence. Then, chaos. Elena's mother gasped, hand to her chest, and literally fainted sideways into her husband. Dan's father stood up, face purple, and looked at his son with pure disgust. You with your sister? Dan panicked. He tried to stand up to run, but his foot got caught in the tablecloth, and he tripped, pulling the cranberry sauce down with him. Elena just sat there, frozen, tears silently streaming down her face, whispering, "No! No!" I took my wedding ring off my finger. I dropped it into her glass of white wine. I'm filing for divorce on Monday. The house is in my name. You have until then to get out. I grabbed a bottle of expensive Cabernet, stepped over Dan, who was scrambling on the floor, and walked out the front door into the crisp autumn air. I had dinner at a diner that night alone, and it was the damnedest turkey I've ever tasted.